okay, this should probably be there earlier. But first, I wanted to start with some personal questions, because the goal of this panel is basically to introduce people who we think will be the builders, the architects of the metaverse. Of course, everybody thinks differently about like what it's going to be, how it's going to look like, but the people are here and we know exactly who is going to build it. So first, let me start with, Anne. And please tell us, like, what was your AR journey? So when did you first discover AR? Like, when did you make your first lens, filter? And then what was the point when you felt like, okay, this is the medium I'm going to use as like my expression and everything?
So I come from animation, 2D animation and GIF. I like to say that I'm obviously not a minimalist, like I'm obviously a maximalist. And I've been using social media as an inspiration, a tool. I'm using a lot of pop culture elements in my work. I do a lot of collage, and that was before AR. And when in 2019 I discovered Spark AR. Actually, I wanted to make lenses because I was using Snapchat a lot, and I was like, I really want to make these, but I don't know how. And then this is from Spark that I discovered how to make AR. And I started making like, hey, what if I put a collage on a face mesh? I had no idea what 3D was. Like I have zero knowledge in 3D. So I was like, yes, let's try it. And I was amazed by the result. And then I became addicted and I started making more and more and more and, watching tutorials, discovering the community, and then I'm still like on this journey.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting because your background is not really like developer, but more like creator, like online creator, social media. So it's kind of interesting how everybody has like a totally different story, but we all are into the same thing, right? And I wanted to ask you, I wanted to ask you about your like most inspired favorite projects you did, because you have such a unique style. Like every time, I don't have to ask if it ends. I know like immediately when I see it. So like, tell us how you come up with these creations, like these masks and everything that are so unique.
Honestly, I don't know how it just like it happens in a way. And I have like a huge collection of images I've been collecting for.
Oh yeah, I remember you told me
many years.
Folders and folders and folders.
Yes, classified by month, and I'm like just like gathering. And then when I want to create an image, I just like open a folder and just like put things together. It's just like, I feel like, the Spider-Man in Spirited Away, like he's like doing all of these things with all of this different art, and I feel like I'm kind of like this character in front of my computer. And for the project, I don't know if we see that. I've chosen 3 projects that I'm really happy about. The first one is the cover of the photo magazine, which I was really, really happy about. And then the second one is a fashion effects that I made for Effect House on TikTok. So now I'm using not only Spark, but also Lens Studio and also Effect House. And I was one of the laureates of the fashion challenge, which I was really, really happy about. And then currently I'm having an exhibition in Japan, in Yokohama, which is, it was crazy. When sometimes you receive these emails and you're like, this is real? Or like, why me? Like, thank you so much. Yeah. And it's been my dream to having an exhibit in Japan. And
I think that like your creations have this kind of like Harajuku vibe about them, right? So I think it's suitable totally for Japan.
Yeah.
Awesome. And please tell us, like, when we scan the QR code, where do we go?
I made a link
because I want everybody to scan, like, test everything. Yeah.
I have a link tree with all of my info and Giphy, because I do a lot of GIFs. Snapchat, Instagram,
Yeah, so
LinkedIn,
please
everything.
scan, check out everything Anne is doing. So thanks. I think we should go to another of our heroes here. Isabel, you established your studio LOCVSS. I hope I read it right because at Lenslist, you know how we usually call your studio? LOCVSS.
No. No.
That's because of the name, but it's LOCVSS. I know. I remember the book. But yeah, let us know how did it all started for you? When did you establish the studio and everything?
So we started working. It's actually at the start it was just me and my partner. We started working under a different name called Bittermesh from our little room in Amsterdam, and in time we managed to grow and expand our influence in the space, I would say, and now we have different collaborators that worked. So we decided to rebrand to LOCVSS Studio to have really an idea of studio, of people, of creators coming together and making augmented reality art. We make a lot of campaigns recently, so I've kind of walked over from making personal work to a more commercial AR experiences.
Yeah, I think even yesterday I saw something new from you, with Meta, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we now make mostly commercial AR experiences for brands, for promotional tools, marketing tools. We work mostly in the fashion and music industry, but as soon as I have some free time, I love to create for myself and really make something that I'm passionate about, because sometimes when you work for brands you end up making their vision of the campaign. So yeah, as soon as I have some free time I just jump into it, and we actually made a beautiful collaboration for this panel with Isabel and Paige that is in the audience.
Yeah, don't leave the room afterwards, because I think 20 minutes after our panel, Paige is joining with Isabel, and they have an amazing collab to show you. So yeah.
Yes. So
just a teaser. I also wanted to ask you, what have you done previously before even, thinking about AR? Were you a designer or more with fashion?
I was working in museums as an exhibition designer in Amsterdam.
Okay.
But me and my partner, we're already making 3D for fun as a hobby, and then it evolved into a profession when I decided to step away from the museum world, because I wanted to make really technological exhibitions and there was no budget for it most of the time. So I found Spark AR, which is now MetaSpark, and I decided to create there, and it just evolved from it.
Awesome. I wanted to ask you about a couple of projects you did. I think the third one is the newest, right? The Meta collabo.
Yes, we collaborated with Meta for Marc Jacobs' new campaign. It's called the Monogram campaign. And we had to realize it's a monogram effect. You see the monogram everywhere. I had to recreate the makeup from the campaign, and then I realized an optical background. But it was a really nice experience to work on and try to convince the team that something is worth doing. I convinced them to add the optical background inside the effect that they didn't want in the first place. So I was, I was really happy to.
Please tell us how did you do it? Because from what I hear, it's really hard to push your ideas sometimes with brands and everything.
You have to show them examples of other brands that have done it before. So I showed them a Versace example, a Gucci example,
and then
they were bought into
comes
it.
in, right?
Yes. Then I went on your website and I Googled the other people's lenses and I showed them.
Yeah, synergy.
Yeah, I always try to bring a little bit of my taste into work I do for someone else, because otherwise it would be pointless, right?
Yeah, but even when you see this couple of projects from you, you can see the vibe, overall vibe coming from you, So it's.
Thank you.
I think the middle one is for Ariana Grande, right?
Yes, this was for Ariana's new makeup line. It's called Arian Beauty, and we had to recreate her How do you describe it? It's a
Like
glass
halo?
headpiece. I don't know.
Halo or something?
Yeah, it's a halo chandelier. Yeah, so we had recreated it in augmented reality, and it actually moves with your head. It reacts to light. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. And the third one?
The third one is my personal project. It works with hand tracking, so you can scale the universe with your hands. If you want to try it, you can access my Instagram with the QR code.
Yeah, and sorry the videos don't really work, but I had a keynote with me and had to turn it into a PPTX file, so here we go. But yeah, please, scan, go test all of the effects our guests are making. And okay, again, I will say it again, but last but not least, Isabelle Udo, or Izzy, please tell us, how you started. I know you established your own studio too, like a couple of years ago. When did you experience your first AR effect, AR experience? Like, what was the first time you even see how the technology works?
So I studied interactive design, but when I graduated in 2014, augmented reality was not really a thing at all. So I continued my studies, and I graduated as a film director. But at the moment that I graduated, that was when Spark AR, which is now MetaSpark, opened up their beta program, and I immediately downloaded the software, and that's basically what I've been doing ever since, which is really, really nice. So the name videOrbit is really, it used to be kind of like a alter ego, and then it grew into a studio because of, I didn't know what else to call it, so it was actually kind of strange, but that also means that it's really close to my identity in a way.
Because you're like the creative mind behind all of the designs you come up with, right? You're like
Yeah.
creative director also. Not
Yeah, absolutely. But I think I really love collaborating as well. So I think it's, everything can always be so much better when you collaborate with people, to bring together all the skills. And then there's this other thing that I want to show on the right side.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the videos, but
Yeah,
yes.
no problem. So I recently also started a digital fashion initiative that is basically consisting of digital fashion created with code algorithms. And the goal is to have some kind of like a platform agnostic tool, which is basically like a functional NFT that people can use on any type of platform to use on their avatar or maybe to wear in AR. So that's also one thing that I've been working on for quite a while now, that is really like, a passion project. And we were recently also in a museum, so that's cool.
Oh, that's super cool. Yeah. And actually, I would recommend everybody to go to Isabel's website, because I think it's like one of the coolest websites I've seen in a while. Like it has the avatar inside. It's like super impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, and another thing about more personal stuff, I wanted to ask each of you, because we're talking today a bit in the context of like the metaverse stuff, so the future. So I wanted to ask you, where do you see yourself in the future of the metaverse? Like, would you call yourself maybe a leader, again, creator, but more into like the spatial, experiences when it comes to AR? So maybe Isabel, can you tell us what is your vision for your future self?
For me, I would always define myself as a 3D artist, because I think 3D art can be used in so many different ways. And in the digital realm, we can always go back to how to make objects in the 3D, also in the metaverse. Sometimes I'm asked, oh, can you make objects for the metaverse? But it's actually just making 3D objects that then are used.
Yeah, the same you use for AR.
Are used also in AR, in VR. Of course, the specs are different, the optimization is different, but if you go to the source of it, it's the same. So yeah, I just define myself as that. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, and?
I don't know. I think I'm really polymorphic. And each time there is a new tool, I my aesthetic evolves with the tool. So I would say that I would be like this mutant, a mutant in the metaverse. That would be me.
Okay, that sounds
like
good.
that.
Appropriate. And easy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I normally always refer to myself as a digital artist, so I think that's definitely something that I will continue to do. I think when it comes to Code Couture and the fashion thing that we're building, that will be a platform or more like a brand on its own.
Got it.
So where videOrbit, my company, is more close to me, Code Couture is a lot more,
Open.
based for community.
Got it,
Yeah.
got it. Okay. Let's move on then to talking about the community, actually. Good, segue. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think are the main perks of being a part of the community? Because there are so many different communities, for creatives, for developers, but AR community, I think, is kind of special, and especially after, meeting some of the people, I feel like this is actually a cool connection we all have. So what do you think are the perks? Do you have any specific memories, maybe that something really stood out to you, inspired you, helped you to, grow?
To me, it's so in AR you have technology, developer skills, and then you have creative skills. And sometimes, you can be super good at everything, and sometimes you need to reach out to some people to get some collaboration, and maybe having an idea that you cannot do because you don't have the technical skills, but you have the concept, and then you can reach out to someone or ask a question on the community online, or even message someone that you connect with. And so I did art school. I have a fine art journey.
Experience, degree.
Degree, which doesn't mean anything for me. How do you degree in art? It's a lifetime thing, but whatever, a detail. And I really liked being in art school because it was a bubble of creative minds. There were with no,
No constraints.
Yes, and very, very excited of being creative. And I kind of had the same vibe with the Vine community. At the time, I was really into the Vine.
Oh yeah, because you're a Viner too.
I used to be a Viner before Vine, rest in peace,
Yeah, rest in peace, Vine.
And I kind of find the same kind of vibe with the AR community, which makes me really happy because after Vine disappeared, I was really sad to lose this kind of emulsion that we had in the community, and now I find kind of the same thing,
vibe, yeah.
and I think it's very specific to this this community.
Yeah, and actually, Isabel, what do you think are the differences? Why AR community is special? Why is it different than other creative communities? Is there something specific about it? Is it the people, or the Anne said, the merge of creative and more technical skills? What is special about it?
I think the AR community is really similar to other 3D communities I've been in. There's a lot of exchange of materials, of assets. People are not scared to share their projects and let other people learn from it. I've also seen that in the developer community a lot, even if I'm not a part of it because I don't code. I've seen there is really this will to share your code and let other people learn from it. So I'm definitely a fan of that. Because the space is so new, I think there's also a lot of competition sometimes. People want to score some deals maybe, or get to a certain position, which I've never chased necessarily, but because it came to me, I feel really blessed that I have the opportunity to expand my studio and work with other people. But I think every person in the community is really valuable, has a lot of talent, and they just have to find their way, their market to to continue in their path.
Everybody can find like their own niche. And I think what's really interesting too is that like because it develops so fast and it grows also super fast, it's like everybody's learning still.
Yes.
There's not like a one master of like everything that knows all of the answers, right? Like everybody is still on their journey to develop their skill set and everything. So I think it kind of enables this openness, you know, just because everybody wants to know something more.
And we work
different.
also a lot with people that have totally different skills from us because that's what we need, actually. I'm going to look for people that have something I don't have to collaborate with.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not going to spoil like your collaboration, but it's I heard a cool story, so it's teasing me. Okay, but I wanted to ask Izzy, because I think it's important like to share the message also to people who maybe just are starting out in AR. Like what would be the best advice for somebody who hasn't made any AR effects, like maybe they're just starting to code, starting to design something. What would be your advice for anybody starting out in AR?
So my advice would definitely be get yourself out there in the communities, ask questions, because it's such a great sharing culture. And I believe that, you know, when you ask questions, then obviously you can learn a lot faster. And also when you're just starting out, there's not that much pressure of like having to perform. Like, don't be afraid to make mistakes and really like try to experiment as much as possible, because that's how you learn.
Got it, yeah. And when you started out, there was probably not as many people working on AR, right? Because I think it grew the most over like last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting because I think now people are starting to talk like, is it too late to get in? Is it too late to get in? And for me, it's like the best time because there's already people who have some experience, have the know-how to share. So it's actually, I think, the best time to start. You probably had it tougher, you know, at the beginning because it was so new. Like nobody knew what to do with it, how to sell it to brands.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first effects that I made are so all over the place, and some are really weird. And I was just experimenting, and I think that's also part of like trying to find your style, is just experimenting a lot with many different vibes and styles and techniques, and then see what do you love to make, but also what is successful, and like kind of try to marry those two.
Yeah. Because I also heard like there are two stances between creators we talk with. Like some people say that you have to find your own niche and kind of, you know, find the thing you're the best at. And other people say like, this is such a multi-skill thing, like AR overall, there are so many different skills needed for it. So try to like try everything. What do you think is the best approach? Like,
I think it would be nice to have kind of like a little bit of surface knowledge about everything, but for me the key is really collaboration. So if I see other people excelling in something that I know a bit about, but I'm not that great at it, I will just ask them to collaborate, because I think that's how, you know, you get things to a new level.
Yeah, I totally agree, because like sometimes I see like effects made just like with so many detailed 3D models and everything, and on the other hand I see like a super interactive game and like the skill sets are totally different for both, but like both bring a lot of value into the space. So why not like bring those amazing 3D models into the game, right, and kind of combine it together. Okay, and now, because I see that our time is also like kind of running out, let's talk about the metaverse. And I think it's kind of, everyone knows somehow what the metaverse could be in the future, or kind of is already, but everybody has a bit of a different definition. But what we know for sure is that extended reality solutions, AR, VR, XR, will be like in the main space there. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the role AR will play in the whole metaverse game? Like, Isabel, what do you think? Like, is it going to be more focused on VR, or is it going to be like combined mixed reality, AR with VR together?
Yes, it's really hard for me to answer this question because there's, like you said, so many different definitions of the metaverse. If we're referring to the metaverse as what Meta is building, or if we're defining the metaverse as a new way of experiencing the internet and the way we interact, if we define it as that, then I think that AR will be a key player in this new way we interact with technology. We are seeing now how glasses are bringing a totally new perspective to how we live our daily lives. We could interact with objects, with digital objects in our daily lives, and actually helping us making our lives better. Also, when I'm thinking about navigation or how we
like the interface.
Yes, how we would have a different interface to help us doing our daily tasks. I also see it a lot. What Meta is pushing with VR is the really workspace collaboration.
Yeah, the new Quest is like work focus, right? It's like
it is work focused. So I really think AR could be a tool that could help us also in the collaboration space. We already see it how creators come together to make beautiful experiences. So yeah, I really hope, and I'm sure it's going to play a really big role. Yeah.
Same here. Because to be honest, like, I like VR, but I get a bit tired of it after like 2 hours or something, just my eyes and everything. So I hope AR will be like AR glasses will be like super light, smooth, like, like you would wear just sunglasses. So hopefully we'll get there soon. And now I wanted to ask Anne, because like even Isabel, you mentioned like Meta is building a metaverse of their own. Like then Tim Cook from Apple has a different vision of a metaverse, more focused on AR, no VR there. And Niantic, Snap, they all have different vision for the future. So for me, it's not really easy to say how it will look in the end. But I wanted to ask you, like, from your perspective as an artist, creator, what do you think creators can bring into the making of the metaverse? Like, what is the value the community can insert there, Because, of course, companies have their interest, but I think, like, every individual has, like, their own values, interest. What's the reason why the community should be there in the building process?
I have so many things to say about this. It's like my favorite subject ever. First of all, I think we already live in multiverses. Like what is happening in my head is already a multiverse. You're a multiverse. And everything is kind of layering, And if we think about it, our avatars, like our multiple avatars, are pseudo we have in different websites or whatever apps or whatever are already a meta version of ourselves. So I think we put the term like metaverse, it's like way up in the calm down, like it's already there, it's been there forever. It's just like the technology is making it look different now. It's just adding another layer of meta. But the meta is like, it's part of life itself. And then as for the creators, we created the internet, like we're just a bunch of nerds. We were in front of our computers making GIFs, making forums, making like torrents, memes, images, and we created the iconographic language of the internet. We did it for free, pretty much. And because NFT didn't exist at the time, and for a long time digital art wasn't in the market of art and contemporary art, which is like happening now, but it's like, finally, and we have value, like, thank you very much. And then now we have the opportunity to start over, and I really wish, and I think it's kind of happening, that the big leaders will have the intelligence to give the creators
To ask, right?
their space and trust their visions, because we are seeing things like differently because we have this kind of lens in our brains or whatever, you know. And I really wish that brands and leaders in industry will just like give us some space and just like trust us, because sometimes you come up with an idea and you can tell like from their face that they're like, I don't know, it's a little risky and everything, and then you like take the leap, like this is how, you know, we make cool stuff, and this is how I feel like it should be in the future. I hope so.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting from the point of view of language, even like
Definitely.
because the community is so global, that I think like creators also are also here to help create like the way we communicate in the future. Like now it may be memes and GIFs, but with 3D implemented inside, it's probably going to be something else. So I'm kind of like really interested what it will be, the language, you know, like you said, the way we kind of understand even the things we see on the internet, right? With the right context.
Yeah, we're creating a new kind of alphabet, and I like that because this is also like keeping me like down the earth, like at some point I will disappear from this planet, but will remain what I will have done, you know, and created. And I feel like the community is creating something that will, you know, resonate for years, if we're still there, like in like thousands of years, like who knows. But I think it's part of making archives, but in the present, you know, and thinking that you're making something that will last and change the codes of how we communicate in the future is like, it just like blows my mind.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And Izzy, I wanted to ask you, I think this is our last question, so everybody jump in on it if you have anything to add. But I wanted to ask Izzy, what do you think is the utility in the metaverse? Like, how will it change the lives of not just, you know, creators, people who are already interested in the space, but just like a typical internet user?
Yeah, so I think that when it comes to augmented reality, that will really shift now towards a more functional way of using it. Especially, you know, having to be able to use the wearables that are going to be a lot more optimized. So I think that will really help, you know, make this whole, you know, we're going to have many different types of apps, and the amount will just explode as soon as the technology, the hardware is going to be there. And it's just, for me, it's really exciting to see that it won't only be like a gimmick or something for marketing or art, and it will really be something that we use in our daily lives, like 20, 25 years ago, the mobile phone.
Okay, yeah, I get it, because, you know, a lot of people who look from the outside may think like, why is it like useful, or like, we already have the internet, so what's going on with the new one? Like, why should we need a new internet, right? So I think it's kind of interesting to see the progression, like you said, like at the beginning it was just for fun. Now we start to see more like interesting and utilitarian also uses of AR. But I think also it's why AR is special in the mix is because it's also like more artistic, I think, than any other technology that's popular right now. So I think it can also bring, coming back to the language thing, it can bring like this maybe, I don't know, more beautiful like aesthetic to the way we communicate and everything. Like it can make the language more, I don't know, just more interesting, more artsy, like more beautiful, you know?
And maybe add a little bit of poetry. Like I was thinking of AI, and I recently have been using AI to generate images and put them into AR. And AI is like basically like poetry. It's like
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I tested like the DALI and everything.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's kind of scary because it
So
knows
good.
what I have in my mind. So, but yeah, but it's definitely cool for the creative process. Like, you don't have to really create any mood boards anymore. You can just tell the AI what you think and come up with so many different proposals, then build on top of that, right? I think we should have like a Q&A started, right? Christian, you know how to make it work?
So now we'll open up the floor to questions for our guest.
Yeah, Dennis, ask something. Because you're here, so I'm like. No, I'm just looking around the room.
Yes, sir.
So you just mentioned AI and DALI. For those who are aware, like you type in something and the AI is going to create an image based on what you type. It's super fast. It's absolutely amazing what it does. How do you guys feel? How do you feel about AI? Like, is it going to help you? Is it going to replace creators? Is it? I'm curious.
You know what? It's something that came up like immediately in the subject when AI came up. Like everybody was like, yeah, but artists are going to disappear. This is just a tool. It's just a new tool coming up. It's like we can use it. It's not because you invented paint and then I don't know, watercolor came up and then, oh yeah, paint is going to disappear. No, it's just like another variation of where you can be creative, and the way you prompt is a skill. Like prompt is something, and once you find the prompt that fits you, I mean, I found like the word that is like my precious, and I know that it works perfectly for me because each time I'm like, oh, this is so good, and it's just like a shot of serotonin or whatever. I'm like, oh, this is so good. And just like, and I press, and then you have like all of these variations, and then what do you do with it? You know, and there are so many things you can do with it. Like you can turn it into 3D. You can expand it with DALI. You can like make it like in a different context. There are so many things you can do with it, and it's like the tip of the iceberg. Like I have no idea what is going to happen after that, and I just can't wait.
Yeah, and also I think like a lot of people already say that there is no original art anymore because you build on top of like Picasso, Degas, something. So I think it's like a similar argument. Just because you see something, you have a new inspiration, doesn't mean like you can come up with something original. Like it's kind of the same thing, I think.
And you know, I don't know if you had this, but in art school, I remember I was like coming up with an idea, and I would hear like a lot of time like, yeah, but this artist did it already. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I will do it my way. Like it's an inspiration, and yes, I will do it my way, not again, but my way.
Exactly.
Okay. We have another question back here.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much for all inspiring work that you did and for your speech. So my question is for everyone. What do you think is the most valuable digital fashion use case and most for people nowadays, not in the future, but nowadays? Because a lot of things happen around digital fashion. A lot of brands do something, but we barely hear about the results. And I'm wondering what digital fashion use case do you think is the most valuable, and if possible, please answer all of you your version.
Izzy, maybe you will try because I know you have like a project around.
Yeah, so what I find really interesting is not something that is like a fashion brand going from Web 2 to Web 3, but it's actually a Web 3-based fashion brand, which is called The Fabricant. And I think they have a really good way of how to, put everything out there, but how to build the platform, basically. I think it's really interesting. So,
But do people actually use it?
They will, probably. So we're now building everything, and we're really in a unique position, everyone who is a creative, to build the metaverse together. So even if now with all the blockchain and everything being down, now is the time to build, right? It's not the time to just sit back and think, oh, well, we missed the boat, because that's not true.
Yeah. I think like a cool implementation of digital fashion is not just around like marketing, but also using it in the production process. I spoke with a guy, he owns this company, Future Claw in Italy, and they consult with other brands like how to not make hundreds of samples, but have like a super detailed 3D model that you can tweak and, you know, change, move around to make it perfect before production starts. So I think this is a cool use case for digital fashion. And of course, I wanted to shout out Dima and Face Me, because you also do amazing things for digital fashion. Dima has a talk tomorrow at 11:30.
Yes.
Yeah, at 11:30. So please, you know, listen to Dima, but because I think he actually has like a good perspective on digital fashion and how to make it useful. You know, how to make it work. Yeah. Any other questions?
We have
We
time for
like
one more
minute.
question.
Yeah.
One.
Okay.
Awesome. If not, we can close it out. Thank you all so much.
Thanks.